What if your entire future could be traced back to a single sentence, not shouted, not broadcasted, but written quietly in a moment of truth? What if clarity wasn't found in long plans, endless to-do lists, or external approval, but in the discipline to define your vision in just a few words? That's the power of intentional living, not reacting, not drifting, but writing your mission, your purpose, your reason for waking up into existence. This isn't a motivational cliche. This is a demand, because a person without a clear vision is a person at the mercy of the world. They get pulled, distracted. They chase what doesn't belong to them. But the ones who win, in business, in health, in life, they know exactly where they're going. Not vaguely, not someday, precisely. And that precision starts when you force your soul into words and say, "This is who I am. This is what I build. This is what I'm here to do." You see, the mind loves to wander. It will take you in 1,000 directions if you let it, and most people do. They confuse movement for progress. They confuse effort for purpose. But if you ask them what their life is about, really about, they freeze. They stumble, because they've never been forced to answer it. But not most people. You're here to get clear. You're here to get dangerously specific, because when you write down your life vision in one sentence, something shifts. You move from fog to focus, from intention to impact, from hoping to building. Let me ask you, what would your life look like if every decision, every habit, every relationship was filtered through one sentence? No more confusion, no more hesitation, no more wasting time on people and paths that don't align. Because when you know your sentence, you can say no to everything that doesn't match it. You can walk into every room knowing who you are. You can wake up every day with a target, and more importantly, a reason. Most people don't have a reason. They have obligations, they have pressure, they have noise. But you have vision. And vision beats pressure, every time. The world will tell you that clarity takes time, that you have to wait, wander, fail 100 times before you figure it out. And yes, there is wisdom in experience. But let me tell you the truth. Clarity doesn't come from the world. It comes from commitment. From sitting down, cutting through the excuses and forcing yourself to write down, "This is the life I will live. This is the impact I will make. This is who I'm becoming." One sentence. No fluff, no filler. Just fire. That's what this is about. Because here's what no one tells you. Vague dreams create vague results. You say you want success, but what kind? In what domain? For what reason? You want freedom, but from what? To do what? You want happiness, but define it. You see, the moment you write it down, clearly, simply, without apology, the moment you trap your soul's mission inside a single sentence, the fog lifts. The distractions that used to pull you lose their grip. Because now, you're not guessing, you're not hoping, you're executing a vision, you're walking with direction. And there's something magnetic about a human being with direction. Not desperate, not rushed, but aligned. Calm. Focused. Commanding. Not because they shout, but because their life speaks. Your vision doesn't need to impress anyone. It doesn't need to sound good on social media. It just needs to feel true. It should scare you a little, excite you a lot, and ground you completely. You should be able to whisper it at midnight, or shout it from a stage. And either way, feel the truth of it in your bones. Because that's your compass. That's your filter. That's your personal North Star in a world full of broken compasses and borrowed dreams. Write it down, even if it's messy, especially if it's messy. Clarity is not the result of perfection. It's the result of courage. It takes guts to say, "This is what I want. This is what I will build. This is who I'm becoming." Most people are afraid of that kind of power. They hide behind complexity, overthinking, self-doubt. But you don't need another year to figure it out. You need 10 minutes of brutal honesty. You need to turn off your phone, look yourself in the eye, and ask, "What is the sentence that will define the next decade of my life?" And when you write it, the game changes. Suddenly, your mornings have meaning. Your setbacks become data, not defeat. Your schedule becomes a weapon, not a trap. You stop chasing 1,000 things and start moving like a heat-seeking missile toward one. That's what a clear vision gives you. Not just purpose, but power. Not just focus, but freedom. We become lethal when your life has direction. Not chaotic, not unsure. Not caught in the trap of everyone else's expectations, but deliberate, precise, relentless. And that kind of fire doesn't start in a crowd. It starts alone, in a quiet room, with a blank page and one question burning. In your soul, why am I here? Not in a cosmic vague sense, but practically, on this earth, in this season. With this energy, this body, this breath, why are you here? And when you answer that, clearly, fiercely, simply, everything that doesn't match that sentence begins to fall away. That's the real power, not adding more, but cutting the unnecessary. When your vision is sharp, your time gets protected, your energy gets guarded, your habits get cleaner, your yeses get more powerful, because they're backed by purpose. And your no's, they become fearless. Because when you know where you're going, you stop negotiating with distractions. This is what changes you. Not motivation, not hype, not 100 strategies. A single sentence, owned completely. A line that becomes your mantra, your blueprint, your internal compass when the pressure comes. And it will come. Because life will test your vision. People will challenge it. Chaos will try to pull you from it. But when your life is anchored by a sentence you believe in, you don't bend to the storm. You become the storm. You walk into meetings differently. You move through struggle with a different fire. You stop being reactive and start being intentional. And that changes everything. So stop waiting for clarity to arrive like a package on your doorstep. Go get it and carve it, write it, rewrite it. Make it so clear that your next move becomes obvious. Make it so sharp that it cuts through noise and self-doubt. And most of all, make it yours, not your parents', not your mentors', not society's, yours. Because your vision can't come from outside you. It has to come from the deepest, most honest part of who you are. The part that knows exactly what kind of life would set your soul on fire. This is where it shifts from theory to transformation. Because once the sentence is written, not just thought about, not floating in your head, but actually written in ink, it becomes real, tangible, alive. It stares back at you. It holds you accountable. And that's where the magic begins. Because now you build around it. Your calendar bends to serve that sentence. Your diet, your sleep, your reading habits, your environment. All of it either supports the vision or subtracts from it. The indecision you used to feel starts to dissolve, because decisions get easy when you're aligned. You don't have to weigh every option anymore. You just ask, does this feed the vision? If the answer is yes, you move. If not, you cut. No guilt, no hesitation, no overthinking. That's what alignment does. It silences doubt. Because you're no longer building a life by accident, you're sculpting it on purpose. And let me be clear, this isn't about perfection. This isn't about having every detail figured out. It's about having direction. Progress comes from momentum, not mastery. You don't have to know step 100. You just need to own step 1 with complete conviction. And that conviction, it comes from the sentence. When you write it, when you say it out loud, when you read it every morning, before the world gets its hands on your mind, you begin to move like a person on a mission. You start to speak differently, carry yourself differently, your posture changes, your energy shifts. Because people can feel it. When someone knows where they're going, you don't need to convince the world. The world feels it. This is how you build a legacy. Not through chance, not through hustle alone, but through vision. One sentence. One deep, soul-level commitment to a life that means something. Because when your days stack in alignment with your vision, your years transform. And a transformed year becomes a transformed decade. And a transformed decade, that's a transformed destiny. The mistake most people make is writing something once and never looking at it again. They scribble a few words in a notebook and call it a vision. But a real vision isn't something you write and forget. It's something you burn into your identity. You speak it daily. You breathe it. You let it shape you. Because repetition is the gateway to belief. If you see it enough, if you speak it enough, your nervous system starts to accept it. And once your nervous system accepts it, your habits align with it. Your environment aligns with it. Your decisions begin to serve it without friction. That's how transformation becomes automatic. When your vision is no longer something you try to remember, but something you can't forget. So write the sentence, then write it again tomorrow. And the day after that, frame it. Speak it out loud before you touch your phone. Let it be the first signal your mind receives every morning. Not the news, not social media, but you commanding your own future. This is how you anchor yourself. This is how you stop floating in the current of other people's priorities. And this is how you begin to trust yourself again. Not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. The world doesn't need more people chasing someone else's dream. It needs people who are crystal clear on their own, people who've taken the time to define it, refine it, and build their life around it. People who don't just have goals, but live from vision. And when you do that, when your inner world is that ordered, that focused, that bulletproof, the outside world has no choice but to rearrange around you. That's the kind of power that turns ordinary lives into extraordinary legacies. Because this sentence isn't just a phrase. It's a weapon, a filter, a shield, a sword. On the days when you feel strong, it sharpens your edge. On the days you feel weak, it reminds you why you can't quit. Because the truth is, there will be days you want to give up. There will be mornings when your energy is low, when your mind wants to drift, when life hits harder than expected. And on those days, you don't need motivation. You need reminders. You need something deeper than emotion. Something written in your own hand that says, I didn't come this far to live a life by accident. That one sentence becomes your vow, your center. And it doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. It just needs to be real. I will build a life that reflects the fire in my soul. I will become a force of strength, peace, and clarity. I'm here to wake people up by living my truth. Whatever it is, it must come from you, not borrowed, not filtered, yours. Because no one else can live it. No one else can hold the discipline, the pain, the grind, the growth that comes with owning a real vision. But you can. And when you do, you stop being pushed by pressure and start being pulled by purpose. That's the shift. That's when it gets dangerous, in the best way. When your life becomes a direct reflection of that one decision, that one sentence, that moment you said, enough. I choose clarity. I choose intention. I choose to live by design, not default. This isn't a motivational speech. This is a mirror, a challenge. A call to stop delaying the vision that's been living inside you, quietly waiting to be declared, not explained. Declared. One sentence. Bold. Focused. True. You were never meant to wander. You were meant to aim, and you know it. Somewhere deep, in your bones, you felt the weight of untapped potential. You've heard the quiet whisper that says, there's more in you. Not just more effort, not just more hustle, more alignment, more direction, more you. And the only thing standing between that life and this one is the decision to define it. The discipline to sit with yourself, away from the noise, the pressure, the scrolling, and write down in full conviction, this is my life. This is my mission. This is where I'm going. Because once it's written, you can no longer pretend not to know. You can't claim confusion. You can't hide behind excuses. It's there, on paper, in your voice, in your soul. And with it comes a kind of unshakable focus that most people never taste. Because most people drift through life. They live by reaction. But you're waking up to something different. You're building a life that matches your highest self. You're removing the fog, the noise, the layers, until only what matters remains. Until you become the kind of person who embodies that sentence. Not just says it, not just reads it, lives it. And when that happens, when your actions and your identity match your written vision, the world begins to move. People notice. Doors open, coincidences appear. But it's not magic, it's alignment, it's physics, it's momentum. When clarity leads, power follows. When vision leads, discipline sticks. When purpose leads, excuses die. And suddenly what used to be hard becomes necessary. What used to be optional becomes non-negotiable. Because you're not chasing goals anymore. You're executing identity. You're living a sentence that means something. Not someday, not when you're ready. Now. So now the pen is in your hand, and no one's coming to write it for you. This is your chance, not to perform, not to impress, but to declare. To take a stand for who you're becoming, not the version they expect, not the version the world applauds. The real one. The one you feel in your quiet moments, in your highest peaks and deepest lows. The one you keep pushing aside with distractions, obligations, and busyness. But not today. Today, you stop running from it. You face it. You claim it. You name it. Because a life without vision is slavery. You move, but you don't go anywhere. You work, but you don't build. You wake up, but you never arrive. And that ends now. So close your eyes. Breathe deep. Listen. Underneath the noise. What is the sentence you were born to write? Whisper it, own it, and then write it. Don't edit it, don't overthink it. Don't wait for perfect, just get it down. Because once it's written, the fog lifts, the road appears, and from this day forward, you no longer live by accident, you live on purpose. And the next time someone asks who you are or what you do, you don't hesitate. You smile, you look them in the eye, and you speak that sentence like it was carved into your bones. Because it is. This is your sentence, this is your fire, this is your life.